Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your hosts, Zakiyrah and
Mikey.
It's always funny when Mikey opens up these podcasts like that because I'm like, okay, cool. So we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Tiffan'e, and she is the founder of Style Mobb University, which is so dope. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm excited to dive into it because I've never seen anything like this. However, before we get started, Mikey, anything going on, any updates, anything new that you want to share?
Yes. So before we started recording, you talked about a selfie studio that you went to. Where was that?
It was actually right across the street from Style Mobb off of
Peter Street.
Yes, Peter Street.
Oh,
That's exactly what it was. Yes.
So I think a selfie studio is pretty cool to create some content. Were there a lot of content creators there when you were there?
No, actually, it's a funny story because I took my nieces and there was nobody there. So I was like, y'all see, I rented this out for y'all just to come and be here by yourself. They was like, TT, knock it off. It's like, okay. But yeah, there was nobody in there actually. But they do have the different sections where you can do content. They have ring lights. They have the tripods, all of that. So I know where you're going with this, but
Where am I going?
keep going.
See, Zakiyrah knows everything, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. No, because I wanted to actually go visit it because I want ideas for the room back there. I'm turning that into a selfie studio.
I know.
But I didn't realize that one was so close. I didn't really Google or anything.
Yeah.
But I need to make sure that I do check that out to get some ideas because we are in a big content creation phase over here at Private Label with multiple people and personalities and information and background. So, I love that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we're going to dive into this podcast episode. We have Tiffan'e hanging out with us in the studio today. How are you?
I am great. I am so happy to be here.
Yes.
Look, I got to say real quick, Tiffan'e made for TV. Look at this.
I was literally about to say, if you're watching on YouTube, you got to check the makeup, the fit, the hair, everything. She looks gorgeous.
I mean, the orange jacket popping,
Yeah.
hair, the makeup. I mean, you must own or run a whole beauty university.
I think so.
And do.
And it shows, ladies and gentlemen. It shows.
So we have Tiffan'e hanging out with us, Style Mobb University.
Yes.
Let's go back to the beginning. Like, you're in the hair industry, the beauty industry. What made you want to get started in the industry?
So actually, I feel like the industry just kind of ran me down.
Yeah.
It was just always there. I actually grew up in pageants, and my mother does drag shows.
Okay. Yeah.
So I grew up in a life full of lights and cameras and hair and makeup.
Yeah.
So naturally, I just kind of walked into it. My first job was working in South Zakiyrah Mall here in Atlanta as the booth where I did brows and lashes.
Yes.
So that was my first job. I was 16. And then in high school, it's so funny. I went back to my high school to give out scholarships for the school.
Nice.
And the principal was there, was like, I remember you used to be in the bathroom with the girls doing hair and makeup.
Did you get in trouble for doing that?
I did every single time. If it was a group of girls in the studio, I'm talking in the studio. If it was a group of girls in the bathroom, they would just know, Tiffan'e, come out the bathroom with the girls. I'm like, how you know it was me?
So were you getting ISS, suspension, all that for doing hair and makeup?
No, because I was on a drill team and everything. So I always had a reason why I was keeping everybody pretty.
Okay, good. Okay. That's understandable.
Yeah, so that's where the story kind of started, kind of evolved. It was just always there.
Yeah.
And I think as I just continued to go on in life, it just made sense. I went from real estate, property management to always working in a salon, always going to the salon, always doing something in beauty because it just made me feel good and make others feel good.
I love that.
I know that sounds so cliche, but I believe in you follow your passion and money gonna follow you.
Definitely. We talk about that all the time. Yeah. But so do you feel like you were a creative child? Have you always been a creative?
Yeah, my mom used to call me Punky Rooster. The thing, it was like a cartoon character, wore a lot of different colors. And my hair was always colorful. I was on different color socks. And, so that was just me. I always believed in just kind of living out loud.
I love that. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So fast forward, you started off in the salon, 16. You were doing hair in school. And then you went to hair school.
Yes, so I did. So actually, it's so crazy. I did makeup first. And then when I started doing makeup, I started working on professional movie sets. Yes. And then I had the opportunity to go union. And they was like, oh, you had to have a professional license. And I was like, oh.
So you were self-taught, but I'm sure...
So not really self-taught. I have to give my credit to Kiki Finley. She now works in California. She's actually a soundtrack producer for movies now. Okay. But she taught me how to transition from mall and everyday makeup to professional makeup on movie sets.
Love it.
And as that happened, like I said, the opportunity came. So I was like, I had to go to school. So I went to the school where I thought like, hey, I'm going to be just like this guy, which is Paul Mitchell. Yeah. I think everybody in the beauty industry was like, I want to be a Paul Mitchell. Yeah. So I went there and really I was just never thought I was going to do hair. I was like, I just need a license so I can do makeup so I can get the union and I could, that was it. And it was crazy because I got the license, I did makeup, and then I quit makeup. And was like, I'm going to do hair extensions.
Yeah. I love it. It's interesting, though, because you kind of took us through a phase of when you first started to up until the point where you started hair school. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people think that you have to get started so early on to actually be successful in an industry. Mm-hmm. And then also it's like it didn't happen overnight. Like you literally built where you are now.
Oh, yes.
So let's talk about going through hair school. What are some of the things that you learned as far as business goes?
You want me to be real honest?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
So realistically, if I have to be just authentically myself, hair school didn't teach me anything about business.
Okay.
I have always been that's why I love Mikey book, and I cannot wait.
Come on, Fearless Beauty.
About it, because I have always been a person who just enjoyed business. Like I said before, I always did real estate or property management because of the numbers, the goals that I could set, the things I can get. Like, I can lease 100 people this month. Like I always was driven to get to the next point. Mm-hmm. So school or hair school at the time was just for the license.
Got it. Okay.
I learned some great things at Paul Mitchell, and even at my school, when people come in, I'm like, no, you could learn some great things at Paul Mitchell. Mm-hmm. But however, it did not teach me business. That was something that was self-taught. And, having businesses since I was 17, you have no choice but to figure out business.
You learn by failing, or you learn by trial and error.
Yes. So
I think you also made some good contacts at Paul Mitchell.
I made some great contacts with Dallas.
Yeah.
There we go. The girl's going. What's up, Dallas?
Yes. Everyone loves Dallas.
Yes,
everyone.
We do.
I haven't met a person that does not love Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas have a infectious personality.
Yeah.
Like he lights up a room. He cares about his students. He knows a star when he see one.
Yes.
He knows how to develop stars. And Paul Mitchell really is like, for him to be at Paul Mitchell is like the jewel that keeps it going.
Yes. My baby sister went to hair school. She wanted to get into the industry. And I was like, Paul Mitchell, Marietta Street, go see Dallas.
She graduated already?
Yeah.
She did graduate.
She did,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually my director of education at Style Mobb University went to Paul Mitchell as well.
Yes.
So we it's so funny because I don't want to jump ahead and talk about the school, but that's just one of the things we always do. Like, go talk to Paul Mitchell. Just go see, we don't knock it. It's just you choose a school based off the culture that you want.
Definitely. And I love that you even say, I don't want to jump ahead, talking about the school. I can tell that you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
So let's get into, you went to hair school, you finished hair school, you thought you were going to do makeup. You quit makeup, started doing hair. So what made you
fired me? I'm gonna say that.
Okay, makeup fired you. Okay, yes. Okay, Mikey.
Like got fired by makeup.
I got fired by makeup. Like I literally was on tour with R. Kelly for a while. Okay. And we went to Soul Train. He was the headliner of Soul Train. I had this whole makeup case, my whole everything, because he had this really huge production. After the award show, I left everything in my car. So like 5 o'clock in the morning. The next day I woke up.
It was gone.
All of my makeup was gone.
Oh, my God. Oh.
That maybe was a sign.
Yeah. It was like devastating. It felt like a horrible breakup, like I had been fired.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes. Oh my God.
The only thing I had was like
some brushing.
I had been doing my hair. So it was so crazy because that's why I believe in looking good when you go to work. So I was working in a salon on Peachtree Street, and I always came in there and did hair. Just did makeup, and my hair was always just done. Mm-hmm. So I walked into the salon that day, and the lady was like, God told me to take your booth rent up from $75. Now I'm a makeup artist, so $75 is great for a makeup artist.
Yeah.
She was like,
weekly?
Yeah, weekly.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, take your booth rent up from $75 to $150.
God told her to do that?
That's what God. And I said, God didn't CC me in.
I was not CC'd on that email. Okay.
Tell God to send that to spam. What the heck's going on?
So, and so I was like, no, not gonna happen. So I actually left and to go open up a salon. It was so crazy because I left, and most of the clients followed me. They had never seen me do hair. Only thing they had seen was me do my hair.
That's what happens when you provide, or when you have an infectious spirit, but then also you provide a great experience for people. Yeah.
So it was a bad breakup, but then it was like I instantly had other love interests.
Yeah. The grass was greener on the other side. I love that. Okay, so let's get into Style Mobb University because I'm excited to learn about it. So how did you even transition? Because you left there, you opened up your own salon, and that was Style Mobb Studios.
No, so it was actually Diamonds and Pearls Image Studio. Okay. And it was a 24-hour hair salon.
24? How did that work out?
So it was crazy. We was on Peter Street. First off, I was on a board on Peter Street.
Yeah.
So I was like on the city council board and secretary and just helping everybody. I'm always doing the most. Yeah. Okay. So we like in this 3-level loft, and we went from, we went from this little 600 square feet salon where only thing I knew was, because I started I've had every position in this industry, from the front desk girl to the assistant to the salon manager, makeup artist. So it was easy for me to kind of transition. And I think that's what helped me with business too, was like playing every position.
You knew the ins and outs.
So I knew everything. It. Yeah. So, went from this 600 square feet salon where I was just in there I had this thing where I was like doing sew-ins with the hair. So it was like a 159 with this Remy hair. I'm going to sew your hair in. This is that. And that went bananas. That was
what year was this?
Oh my God. What year was that? It had to be like 2006, 7. Okay. Let me see, maybe 8.
Okay.
9, somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Around there. But yeah, so that went bananas. That was so crazy. We would have a line going out the door because everybody else was doing $50 sew-ins. I'm like, I'm not doing no $50 sew-ins.
I need my coins. Okay.
Yeah. And I knew my sew-ins was perfect. I call my sew-ins the perfect sew-in. It's perfect. It's going to lay flat. Your hair not coming out. Your edge is going to be there. Your hair going to grow. So I'm like, I'm not doing a $50 sew-in, but I'll give you this cheap hair. Hair and make it look good. So did that, and we grew fast out of that 600 square feet building into, it was like 3,000 square feet for 3 levels, and it was a rooftop. So I was like, look, I can live upstairs. The first floor could be a boutique. I was like, the middle floor would be a nail shop and a little cafe. The third floor, I live on that floor, and then I invite people up to the rooftop if they just want to kick it. And I was like, let's do it 24 hours.
Wow.
And it literally took off.
Wow. So people were actually scheduling appointments at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to
3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
We always had a commission-based salon. So we would like book the clients to come in and the staff to come in at different times. And they enjoyed it.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Like a party.
I love it.
It was great.
Yeah.
So how was it living? Because you said you're living on the 3rd floor, which I hear. So you're living on the 3rd floor, and it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Do you ever sleep?
It's a party. So how did that work out?
It just worked.
Yeah.
It was never like, oh, I need sleep, I need to go away. It just worked. It really did. Like, my clients have stories where they be like, I remember you were so young, you would be leaving from the club. I would take my first client at 6 a.m. They're like, you would come straight in front of the club with thigh-high boots on and shorts and be like, come on, girl, let me get your hair.
Wow.
Let me get you going.
I remember those days because I was partying in clubs well before I was supposed to be. But I literally would come home maybe 5, 6 o'clock and have to be to work at 7.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, quick wash, boom, boom, boom. And work just like,
Yeah, and it's in the salon business, especially when you're in a salon environment.
Yeah,
it feels like a party.
Yeah,
so it helps
and it's
you
good
get
energy.
through.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
So you got sleep.
I did. I got sleep, and I'm a person. I love a nap. I'm gonna take a nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need 30 minutes because I need my brain to recharge.
Yes,
so I can figure out my next play.
Yeah,
like, I can't go with not having sleep. So I slept, and people would be downstairs just to working. One time I went down, I had to fire somebody that had like literally beer in the cans, popped over drinking beer. I was like, whoa, wait, this is a luxury environment.
Yeah,
pour that in a glass. Like, pour that in a glass. I'm like, wait, no,
not throw it away. Pour it in a glass,
please. There's a class in here.
Yes, that is so funny. Okay, so how long did you do that?
So let me see. Diamonds and Pearls went for about, I was like 5-6 years.
Nice. Yeah. Wow.
My last location was in Colony Square, which is in Midtown.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what happened was my son retired me. I became pregnant with my son. We still was working. I was still working. I would I had 2 assistants at one point. So I would see about 10 clients a day. And what happened was my body. So we transitioned from the 24 hours to like, okay, now we're going to go really classy and go Buckhead, and we're going to be in this Colony Square location and just be really sophisticated. That's what I'm thinking. And then I got pregnant. And so then my body would swell. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
But my body was like,
slow down.
No.
Yeah.
Like, wait, we need to chill. We need to sit down.
Yeah.
So then it was like, because I was so passionate about hair, I never thought about scaling out. Or I never thought about what's going to happen when I can't be in a salon and teach my staff how to do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have booth rent. So I don't think it makes sense to have booth rent. Not if you in the beauty business to be a CEO. I'm not in the beauty business to be just a hairstylist.
Yeah.
The hairstylist piece was just the key in. But I believe in scaling.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm fine. I have commission-based salons all over the place. Then I was like, whoa, wait, my body.
Yeah.
So then that's when the birth of the school came about.
Okay, got it. So we
here.
Sat down for that. You spent some time with your son. You're pregnant, had your son, and then you started Style Mobb University.
Yeah. So I started to really just kind of pray, and I'm very spiritual. Like, I don't make a move without, God has to come down and be like, this is it. Show up, somebody, give me a sign, knock a flower off the wall, something. So I started praying, was like, God, what am I going to do to when my body don't want to stand or my body cannot stand? Like, what's next? And, I don't think a lot of hairstylists think that through. Like, what is next when you physically cannot work? So I just started praying for an answer. And one night, I believe in keeping a journal by your bed, because I'm a thinker. So in the middle of the night, a thought will wake me up. Yeah. And I'm like, just write it down because you're not going to remember.
Right.
So one night I woke up and it was like the name Style Mobb just dropped in me. And I just wrote it down. I had no idea what it was. But when I heard the name, I knew it took me from being a competitor to a leader. I was like, it took me to be like the leader of the next generation of beauty bosses and innovators. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, like what do? Do I create an app? So at first I had an app that was like delivering beauty products. Like, I'm here to save you. And I had like this cute little girl on this bike and holding products like Style Mobb Uber. And so it went from that to like, okay, well, maybe it's supposed to be an app where they can call hairstylists. And so then I started hairstylists being on the app. Y'all, when I tell you my brain don't stop. So I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, no, it's supposed to be advanced classes. So then I started doing these advanced classes. And so crazy, one part in there that I missed is that one day, my director of education, Miss K, who I also call her my co-founder, we was in a car. She was taking me home and I was pregnant. And I was like, hey, when are you going to stop being a salon assistant and go open up a salon? And she was like, I want to be a teacher. So she had gone to Paul Mitchell too. Okay. Dallas had been her teacher. And I was like, you should go back and get your instructor license. Meanwhile, me not trying to go. Right. I'm like, girl, you should go get your instructor license. So I was like, I want to open up a school one day, just in a very light conversation. Yeah. Just driving home, no thought to it. So fast forward back to those advanced classes. So I was like, I'm going to call these advanced classes like just Style Mobb. I'm going to give that the name, take it from the app, Style Mobb advanced classes.
So during this time, she was in school getting her instructor
I had
license.
no idea what she was doing.
Okay.
We had not talked. It had been a phase where I just kind of went tunnel vision.
Yeah.
I had sold my salon in Colony Square to her boss because she was like assisting her.
Okay.
So I had sold my salon to them. They was doing some reality show, something.
Yeah.
They were like, we need a Peachtree address and Buckhead Beauties. I was like, all right, y'all can have it.
Yeah.
$60,000.
Yeah.
Call yourself whatever you like, you know? So I sold that to them, and I was just kind of focused on building out my next play.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy thing is, I end up opening back up a salon. We start calling it Style Mobb Studio.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
what
I
I
was
came
like,
in.
I'm gonna call it Style Mobb Studio. And in here, we'll take commission-based salon to the next level. So I'm like, now I have junior stylists, master stylists. I'll train them up, and they grow through like different trainings,
Yeah.
and then they make more money based off, you know, where
The
they are in
level.
the training.
I love that. Yeah.
So we call it like a training camp salon, but to the public, it was just Style Mobb Studios. So that worked. And then from there, literally one day, I just was kind of like having a staff meeting. Every month, I would have a staff meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And this one particular day, I just walked out and was like, hey, this is everybody. 2 weeks notice, I'm going to open up a hair school. And they looked at me like, what? And I was like, what? Like, I'm going to open up a hair school. It just literally just dropped
It flew
out of nowhere. I had notes on what my meeting was going to be about, but out my mouth was like, this is your 2 weeks notice.
Wow.
I'm going to change this place into a hair school.
Wow.
About 2 o'clock in the
Mikey
morning.
has a question.
That was crazy. No, this is the part. At 2 o'clock that morning, I had not seen Miss K. We would meet up every other year to do like this teen workshop class that we do. Teens, that's my ministry. That's who I give back to.
Yeah.
You know, so I would teach teens how to do hair to make money, like sew-ins.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love them. And so me and Miss K would team up to do that. And this one night I text her like, hey, girl, I got this idea for a school. And I'm like, I'm sorry to text you at 2 o'clock in the morning, but let's link up. I got an idea about a school. She literally texted me right back and said, I just submitted my 2 weeks notice to Paul Mitchell.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow. Yes.
And she was like living her dream job.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, you went to school. Like, we had never really talked about it.
Yeah.
I knew she was teaching, but it was just like, it never was a thing. I knew she knew education. I knew she is like literally Dallas.
Yeah. I
She
love
literally
it.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So everything was preparing. It was literally like, okay,
Yeah.
you didn't know it was a school, but everything was literally preparing
Yep.
along the way. And at that moment where you spoke, all right, this your 2 weeks notice, like God already knew the school is here.
Yeah.
Like it's coming. Miss K, she was already on the line. She quit her job because she knew she was about to be
Yeah.
doing something. She didn't know what,
She know what?
but something.
Yep.
So you got the school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, walk us through the process of
Oh
what
my
the school was
goodness.
like.
So y'all, I started this school. Now I'll jump out and start a business in a minute.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. You know, this, I'm like, all right, I know how to do some hair. I know my good friend Kano Cosmo.
Yeah.
I definitely know how to scale a salon. You know, like everything I had taught my stylists in salons, I was like, okay, so now I have to take this and put it into a curriculum.
Yes.
And I'm like, tell me everything you know about Cosmo.
Yeah.
Give me your brain. So we created this curriculum. And when we first started, it was just an advanced school. Like, okay, we're just going to do advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And we were outsourcing our students to cosmetology schools. The students was like, no, we want to get our license here. So I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do? COVID hit. What was that? March 2020.
Yeah.
COVID hit, and so it gave me time to sit in the house and figure out, like, how can I turn this into a school? In the state of Georgia, you have to have at least, 2,500 square feet to have a master cosmetology school. I only had 1950 square feet.
Wow.
So I said, what can I do? So I'm like, COVID hit. Now I'm on the cosmetology board. I'm just reading. And I was like, oh, I could be a hair design school. You only need 1,900 square feet for that. Look at that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So COVID was the lick.
Yeah.
It slowed me down enough to go
Yep.
read, research, and do it. So I was like, boom, we finna be a hair design school. It was perfect because most people just wanted a license to do hair.
Yeah.
They didn't care to do the facials and the nails and all of that. So it was like, boom. We started, we got approved in the middle of COVID.
Nice.
So the rule is you have to have at least 15 students to open up. Our first enrollment, we had, 28 students.
Nice. Yes.
I knew hair extensions. That was my background. My background had always been the best of both worlds, which was healthy hair and hair extensions. So I knew to take my knowledge from that and implement it, and my knowledge of business and implement it into the school. And so we had something that no other school was doing.
Yeah.
It's like, now we're going to give you cosmetology license on top of an advanced curriculum where you're going to learn how to do hair extensions, all the trendy styles. And on top of that, you're going to know how to scale out of this industry when it's time to move on.
And that, I think, is what's missing. I know we talk a lot about even going back to how hairstylists manage money or how they manage their business and all of those things, because a lot of them are creatives. And so some of them weren't born into business, or they don't necessarily know how to run a business. So when people come out of hair school, it's like, all right, I got my license. Like, now what? Like, do I just go rent a studio or a booth and do hair and make money and do this? So I am in love with the fact that you guys are teaching business and cosmetology. Like, that's so important.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a narrative we've talked about for years. As we see the hairstylists come out, they're making all this money, but sometimes it doesn't matter how much money you're making if you're not doing the right thing with the money. And I think we've all made mistakes when we're younger as far as financials and such, because there is a lack of education. And to see a school actually realize that and say, hey, I know this might not be as exciting as, melting a frontal, right? But it's like, this is going to keep you alive or just keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Yes, you do have to pay taxes. Yes, the government sees all those cash apps now, over $600, guys, the new law next year. Right. So it's like, you got to really be in a good position as a hairstylist. Otherwise, it's not going to make any difference how much money you make.
Correct.
Yeah. And the other thing that I love about it is that it's an HBCU for schools. For hair school.
And let me tell you, we get so much pushback for that. First off, we could never be a real HBCU. It's historical. We're creating history. So it's a play on letters.
For sure.
And for us, it means Hair, Beauty, Cosmetology University.
I love that.
So it's a play, but what we mean is we're embodying the culture of the HBCU.
Definitely. And I think that everyone knows you're not an HBCU, but it's still like, respect what we've built, and where we built it.
It'd be so crazy. And I think it's a huge compliment because honestly, our school stands without even saying a HBCU. Like, our first year, that wasn't a thing. That it happened after we saw our culture. After we was like, whoa, this is lit. Like, we have at least 2 or 3 like parties every year just to celebrate our students. And so we like, this is like a cosmetology HBCU. So it was like, let's run with it. But we had already proven ourselves before the HBCU. We literally just do it now to let people know, like, hey, this is the culture we embody here. We have a sorority on campus. We have student housing. We have a full cafe. So we literally embody that culture. But we're all inclusive. Anyone can come to our school.
Okay. So someone who is interested in maybe going to hair school, and we're talking about Style Mobb University right now, explain, because you say you have on-campus housing, you have a cafe. Explain, like, how did all that come about? Was it just literally?
No. So as we grew, what happened was our second group of students we enrolled, I would say 60% of those students came from other states.
Okay. Wow.
We had students that come from other countries. And they was coming straight from out of high school into, cosmetology school. So they was moving. Their parents was like, they want to move here to come to your school. We had no idea how we was reaching other states, other countries. And so the mother in me was like, okay, if my son went somewhere, I would like to know that the school know where he is. So then I started to get housing to just put our students into it, just built it out. And made it dorm room style. We would do videos about, this is how you do a packing party. And, this is what you need moving onto campus. So that was fun because it gave them that whole feeling like, I am going to a university.
So.
Yeah.
I love that. That is so dope. That's so amazing. Yeah.
So I got questions. First thing, so now that you have this whole business set up and you have your one school, now that and you've learned a lot, pros and cons of everything, how difficult would it be for you to open up a second location?
So actually, we got nationally accredited this year.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was a very hard task. A lot of schools, first, it's not necessary for you to be nationally accredited. So you can choose to do it or not. I'm glad that we chose to do it because it does, it shows that we are serious and that we plan to be around for a long time. The national accreditation lasts for 15 years. It was a 1,500-page application. When I first opened the school, there was no guidance. Only thing the board requires is for you to have certain type of furniture and have a curriculum. They don't check the curriculum. They don't make sure. So that's why schools can just open up and teach you the basic and be like, have a great life. No one is checking to make sure that your curriculum is cohesive or that your students are actually excelling. With the national accreditation, it allowed for me to go through my school with a fine-tooth comb, meaning that everything had to be systematic. At the time, I cried. It was times I stayed up like, why am I doing this? Like, it really just had to push myself to go through. I'm so glad that I did because now I could probably open up a school in no time. Because it's down to a science, like I know it.
So now that you have all the paperwork and everything done for the initial school, if you're going to do a second school, you already have all that figured out.
Yep.
It's not as difficult.
No,
or you don't have to resubmit all that same information.
No.
You're like, hey, this is just another campus.
So now that we're nationally accredited, any school that we open up falls up under those licenses.
Okay.
Nice. No matter where it is.
If you went to a different state.
No matter where it is. We're nationally accredited.
Okay.
Yep. So we're nationally accredited. And not only are we nationally accredited, we are the only cosmetology school that is recognized legally to be a university. I was declined 2 times before they approved this is Department of Education that approved me to be a university. So if someone say, oh, my business is called Beauty University, you cannot open up a business legally with the license that say that you're a university or a college unless you are a college or a university.
Wow.
So technically, cosmetology schools are considered to be a technical school. But
the idea, sorry,
I love that.
I knew it was brewing. I saw it brewing.
Zakiyrah knows me too well. Zakiyrah
I was like,
oh, it was like, it explode. I love that.
Yeah, keep going, and I'm gonna fill you in. Okay.
And so, I had to go to the Department of Education and like stand on my curriculum and say, you said this is what considers a school to be a university. This is our curriculum. This is our school structure. We stand as a university. And that goes back to our global mission. Like, no, we're uplifting the cosmetology business and the industry to know that we should be put on a respected platform.
Yeah.
There's only 2 licenses in this world that allows you to touch another person's body. There's a medical license and a cosmetology license. We deserve to be on a respected platform. We're a university.
Teach them.
Yeah. So, they approved it. So we probably like, we're university by law.
Right.
So what was that?
I love it.
I was just thinking, because we've already talked about working on some projects together, which obviously I'm very excited about, which is going to be phenomenal. But when I'm thinking like, hey, when it's time to open the second location and you might need an investor, I know a guy. I love, as horrible as I did in school. I mean, I didn't learn anything in school.
Yeah.
I just got by because the teachers liked me. I remember them calling my mom and saying, Vicky, your son is the nicest guy, so polite, respectful. He's the worst student we've ever had.
My goodness.
I didn't read a book till after high school.
I read that in your book.
So I didn't read a book. I just didn't know how to learn. And it took me a while to figure out that I learned differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's when
because he has ADHD, y'all. Get the book.
Right?
Yeah. So that's when education became very important to me. After I learned, I said, oh, it's good to learn.
Yeah.
It changes your life. And so I'm thinking about that. And then you're talking about the university and everything else. I don't know. We'll talk after this about some online classes and other stuff.
We have a hybrid platform as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if we wanted like continuing advanced education, I own this domain name that is pretty cool.
Okay.
It's called hairuniversity.com.
Oh.
It took me years to get this domain.
Nice.
It was own negotiating. Nah, I'm fine. We had hairuniversity.co or something else.
Oh, I remember
And then
that.
finally, like, they reached out, hey, do you want Hair University? At what price? I'm like, nah, I'm good over here now. But what price would you do it? And they lowered the price. I was like, okay, cool. Because the thing about Hair University is a good domain name. That's a good domain name.
Oh, yeah. So how long is the program?
So we have the shortest program we have is our instructor educator program, which is about 5 months.
Okay.
And the longest one is about 11 and a half months.
Okay.
So speaking on, because I wanted to kind of go into this book because you have some great things in that book and some great things that I can co-sign on.
Yeah.
And some reasons why my school is the way it is. So I am one of those people. I always say I have ADHD. I have never been diagnosed with it, but I do know that I have a huge dyslexic problem where, I'll be reading something and the numbers be backwards or I have to slow down and be like, whoa, wait, did that say that? And so sitting and doing something for a long time, like, hey, you have to really keep my attention. I had to really teach myself like how to get through reading this contract.
Yeah.
How to get yourself to learn this quickly where you're going to take a lot of information in and be able to regurgitate it back out. So that was something I had to literally go through and teach myself how to do. When I read that in your book, I was like, no, that is like the golden jewel for getting through life because I was never a fan of school. What made school great for me is that I was just popular. It was popular. People liked me. It was like, she on a drill team. She know how to do hair. She do everybody brows. It was just kind of made me kind of skate through school. I was smart. I always been smart. I always been intelligent. I always was called really a nerd because I would research things, but I could learn it with a teacher telling me I needed to teach myself it. So that was brilliant. And I said, you really gave out a golden nugget with that because people would just give up and be like, I'm not good at school. And it's like, you're not good at that way of learning, but you could teach yourself anything. So a part of our school, the very first day, what we do is we give our students a learning test. We find out which way they learn. And then we build our lesson plans based off the learners in our group.
Nice.
And that came from me knowing that everyone don't learn the same way. Like you have to have creative ways to reach your audience. Yeah. So I have to commend you of that. Only thing I would say about your book is that put in the audio. I'm too busy to be sitting down
I was literally going to ask you
in the
audio book.
I'm going to record the audio.
Please.
Yeah. I'm gonna
and you do it because
some
some people have the audio where it's somebody else and it makes you sleepy.
I had somebody take me out to lunch and someone from Bronner Brothers, and she said, Mikey, I read your book. She goes, every hairstylist needs to read this book. And she's been in the industry 30 years. She knows a lot of hairstylists, all of them. And she says, you have to do an audiobook and you have to read it yourself. Your personality. Because people read the book and say, Mikey, I feel like you're talking to me because they know me.
Yeah.
So I actually just got this new program that is really awesome that helps with everything. I'm going to read it. I'm telling you why I haven't read it yet. It's because by my house, they're doing, I can't do it here at the office, too many distractions. At my house, they're doing construction because I want to do it during the day. Yeah. They're doing this construction next door and now they're finally doing the bricks because I had to record something the other day and they're doing the bricks and it's like, and I'm like, because I need to do it just I know when I need to do it. So I'm going to do the audio version. Yeah. I could do it at night, but I just feel like distracted at night. And I work at night best because you have to find out how you work. I work at night best. I need 3 things. I can get things done really quick. Okay. First is a cup of coffee. Yeah. It helped if I had a nap before because I don't, cup of coffee, good tequila on the rocks. And if I'm doing computer stuff where I'm not talking, I just need to listen to Lil Wayne.
Or Future.
Or Future.
No, it's really Lil Wayne.
Really? So you listen to Future in the morning?
Future hypes me up.
Okay.
Lil Wayne, I like listening to Lil Wayne because I've listened to his songs over the years. So I know the songs so well that I'm not thinking about it. Background music.
Got it. Yeah.
Right? So I have those and I'm like, going on the computer, knocking out some new project or getting some done. But that's one of those things where you have to learn what the environment's going to be for you to learn.
Yeah.
You have to understand that there's different ways of learning and you have to figure out what works best for you. It took me a long time to figure that out. And I think it really held me back in my life because there wasn't information out there like there is today about these kind of situations.
Yeah.
And you can listen to podcasts. There's tons of YouTube videos. There's so many different ways to learn about what's going on with you and figure out yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that was an important thing. It took me a long time in life. And I really feel like I never didn't have the work ethic because I always worked morning, day, and night. And I'm kind of upset with myself of how much I worked in my 20s instead of doing more fun stuff. I had a great 20s, but I think I should have had more fun.
Yeah.
But if I had a little more guidance, I didn't really have the guidance from family because, and I don't blame them. They didn't have the knowledge.
They didn't know.
The guidance. So
that's interesting you said that though, because I wish I was a little bit more focused in my 20s. Yeah. That way, by the time I got to 30s, it's like I'm living now. Like these are like the best years, you know.
Yeah, if I had it, I would be. I should be done by now.
Yeah,
So I feel I worked all of my 20s.
Yeah,
and now I feel like I'm coasting in my 30s, but I'm from Atlanta, so it's a little different. The clubs are always here. The nightlife is always here. So it's like, okay, I don't feel like we missed out anything in our 20s.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I worked so hard in my 20s, but not intentional work. It was like work because I had to take care of myself and I had bills and I had school. And so I was forced to work, but not intentional, fulfilling work. And so now it's like in my 30s, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm getting the structure. Well, really late 20s. Now I'm structuring and finding out and filling out. And it's like, damn.
I believe in work hard when you're young because now I party in places like Dubai.
Yes. And I will say that in my 20s, I traveled a lot. So that's one thing. But it's like I'm a natural. I love to travel. So it's like now I want to be able to say, okay, I'm just traveling all over. Like, but you got to have some boundaries and structure and stuff. But it's so interesting that you said that because I think everyone has their own experiences and things that they've gone through or things that they desired to do that they weren't able to do in that particular time period. So that's always interesting.
For sure. Zakiyrah likes my 18-12 program. So I do 18 days in Atlanta and 12 days
somewhere else.
Yeah. That too.
Yeah.
It's worked out. But the 12 days is my creative days. And literally 18 days straight I'm working here. Yeah. And I get a lot done. It's not that I'm not getting stuff done when I'm away, but it's more the creative time. And when I get back, it's implement time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been working out pretty well.
It's like sacrifice early, live later. That's one thing that I always admired from people who did that. Yeah.
Because when you get older, at some point, you're not going to want to, I can hop on a flight to Asia 24 hours like it's nothing still today.
Yeah.
It's still a little uncomfortable, but fortunately, because I've worked the credit card system, like point system and know how to do the rewards.
Not fraud.
Not fraud. Not
Mikey cleared it up. I knew Mikey was a scammer.
So like getting the seats, like honestly, I have my flight to China tomorrow night. And I have global upgrade certificates, Delta One, and I'm on the list. And I'm like, okay, there's 9 seats left. There was only 6, 3 came available. So it's 9 seats left looking. So I'm going to call Delta today. I'm going to pray.
Hey, I'm a million miler. Give me this.
Guys, this is my first million miler flight. I'm going to throw everything at them. I'm going to beg them. I'm going to say, please. So just to get that because, I grew up all my first 10 trips to Asia. I literally was in the back seat. No recline.
Yeah.
So it was brutal. So I try to, as you get older, you just I feel like you want to be more comfortable.
Yep.
Yes. Definitely.
When you're younger, you don't really even care. You're just like,
I'm there.
However I can get there.
Yeah.
Spirit Airlines. Moment of silence for you, Spirit Airlines. I would not fly. Look, even if it's free, I'm not getting, nope, sorry. I'm not getting on you. I'm Delta loyal. So we talked about, getting some ambassadors and stuff. Delta, if you want me to be an ambassador, I'll film on your plane, show you how amazing it is.
Yeah, no, what's crazy, I don't know if you saw the video, but my husband actually did a show on the 747 experience in the Delta Flight Museum. They had like an event. So he literally did the whole show inside of the plane. It was so dope. So dope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So tell me what else you like about Fearless Beauty.
Right.
So, okay, I love that. I love the way that you create like a game plan for a new business owner. Now, of course, where I am in business is like, okay, this is great. It was kind of like assessing it like, this is good. This is great. And I did pick up some tips too. So even someone who's profound in business, there was some great tips in it, especially for marketing, especially for kind of restructuring yourself.
Yeah.
So that was great. But I read it from the lens of my students. And I wanted to read it from the lens of my student because I'm like, if I implement this in my curriculum, what is my students going to learn from this? And I loved it. I love the way you start with, what's the goal? Let's create a plan to get to the goal. Okay, you're having a problem with organization? Let's create a plan for that. All right, so now we got this done. Let's actually launch the business. And these are the steps to the business. Honestly, I didn't get through the whole book because I'm too busy, so I put it in audio. But
Noted.
She led with put it in audio. We need an audio book. Okay. Sure. Yes. And I think it's different when you do that too, because I'm listening to Kerry Washington's new book, Thicker Than Water, and I would not have been able to make it through it if it were a guy and then this is what happened.
Yeah,
when
but
you
no,
do
even with, Fearless Beauty, it's so entertaining because it is like talking to you. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I did not read the letter from your girlfriend just because, I was like, I'm in that place where I'm so committed to Style Mobb University.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to be tempted to be in a relationship. Glad he has a great girlfriend. Let's skip
over that. That is so funny.
That's just the real thing. That's one of the things that keep me focused. Like, I don't want to read it and be like, oh, she's so supportive. Right. I was like, yeah, skip these 3 pages.
Well, it actually, she goes into how difficult it is because I'm sure with your relationship
to date an entrepreneur.
I figured that.
Yeah.
And especially if you've never been with an entrepreneur or really, and you're not an entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah.
To date an entrepreneur is
hard.
Really tough.
It is.
We think different. We act different. I'm a little crazy. I get these messages from her of like, you need to chill out a little bit because I say crazy stuff when we're out.
Yeah.
Get a tequila 2 and me. Ooh.
Oh, I remember going out with Mikey. I'm not going to put you all the way on blast, but I think we were at opera when opera was a thing. And Mikey had, I don't even know how many drinks, but I was like, who is this man? He went crazy. And I remember Mary Margaret, she probably walked you out of there by the ear. Like,
so.
Let's go. Let's go.
Get him out of these streets.
That is funny.
It was so hilarious.
I was single for a long time, so I stayed in the streets for a while. I was deep in the streets.
We know.
That's fine. And, and that's the thing. Like, I don't really be deep in the streets, but I like to do what I want to do without calling somebody to tell them what I'm doing. I think you earn that as a boss, honestly. And honestly, I don't even like to call myself a boss. I'm a great leader. Okay?
I love that. Yeah.
And as a great leader, I don't need to tell you, just trust me. Get in there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And I'm like, to have to call somebody and be like, oh, I'm here and doing this. And it's just a drag. I can't take that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is distracting me. You know what I could have been doing in this time and talking to you and tell you where I'm going? And I decided to just be married to my goals and my vision.
And that's the season you're in right now. And I think that that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it was something where I was just so...
Yeah, it's not like you needed...
I needed someone to bring me back, bring me back.
You needed a little reel in.
Honestly, I started this business... I started going out with her slightly before I started this business. Okay. And there's no way I could have done this business today because I still would have been this wild, crazy guy.
Yeah.
Let's just stop right there. Wild, crazy guy. And I couldn't have been as focused on the business as I needed to be.
Oh, right.
And it wouldn't have excelled like it did. So I do owe that to her of being a little bit more strict and just like, she loves to have fun and do all that stuff. And we've had obviously some wild times, but it's like, okay, we need to hone it down a little bit. This can be becoming a little bit too much.
But Capricorn.
Oh, I don't know. Her birthday is in end of August.
August. Oh, Leo. Oh, Virgo. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'm a Libra.
Okay.
Wondering.
Well, that's why you're so fun.
Yeah, very fun.
Yeah.
So I think different people need different things.
Yeah.
So whereas you needed someone, you're like, I don't. It's going to be a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I do. And I think it's just different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's okay. It's the season that you're in.
Yeah, that's the reason
and
why I
what you
skipped those
need.
pages. But, but it was so crazy. But I figured I could tell, like, oh, she's so great and so supportive. She understands. She's not needy. She don't need a lot of attention.
She wrote 3 pages.
I was like, this is great. Okay, so this chapter. And honestly, I was eager to get to
the good stuff. Or not the good stuff, but the business.
To get to the meat of it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I wanted to see. I wanted to know. I'm like, okay, what is this? Like, how did he get here? What was the plan? What was this? And so, for me, because there's not the season I'm in, there wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me get to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think you've done a great job with it. And I love how easy it is to read.
Very easy. The book was written for, honestly, it's written for hairstylists that are in hair school.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, the book itself is for all entrepreneurs. Like it's plug and play with
definitely.
Everyone. And it's called Fearless Beauty, the Hair Business Blueprint, but it's not even really about hair. If you read the book.
It's about business.
It's just about business. Mm-hmm. So I think the title turns some entrepreneurs off because they think it's about the hair business.
Yeah.
When really it's just entrepreneurship in general. But as your first book, if you want it even slightly successful, about 300 reviews on Amazon, by the way, you need to go into your niche.
Yes.
Right? So I really had a niche down. I'm working on a second book that is a little bit more broad. Mm-hmm. Yes, Zakiyrah, working on another book. When I'm out of town, I work on this other book.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it, no AI. I love AI. It's not an AI book. So I'm working on that. And it's just one of those things where I wanted this thing to work. But, Dallas introduced me to the kit that Paul Mitchell has, right? And I know we've talked about your kit, right? And I said, okay, I need to create a book that goes in for a beauty school, a cosmetology school. It goes in the kit because he talked about Win, and Win has his book about being nice inside the book. I have the book.
Nicer else.
And I had emailed back and forth with him. I finally got the opportunity to meet him face to face. Dallas, of course, set that up. And Zakiyrah and I are actually going to do a podcast with him. So we're going to fly out to LA for that.
Nice.
So, I haven't asked him about like, hey, Win, do you know how great that book would be to add to the Paul Mitchell kit? But I think it really would because it is an easy book.
Yeah.
It's an easy book to read. And it was something very special to me because I really wanted to, I think some people just write a book to write a book. I really wanted to reach a certain level of success. So I say, look, I've done it. I've got this far from absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Here you go. And then it's kind of proven.
Yeah. I love it.
I love it too.
So what direction are you going in with Style Mobb University? What can people look forward to over the next 1 to 3 years?
So crazy. Mikey was like, well, how easy it is to open up another location.
I just said that because I'm trying to be part of the next location. I'm investing in that. Call me.
Yeah.
You got it on wax. Okay.
And I could, trust me, I can add a lot of other value to that.
I believe you. I can't wait for us to discuss it.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of phone calls. People like, how can I get a Style Mobb? How can I get a Style Mobb? And of course, I'm always a strategic growth person. So when people was asking, I was like, it's premature. It wasn't time.
Yeah.
We're reaching our place where it's time to kind of spread our wings. So we're definitely growing into the direction of more schools.
Yeah.
However, we just want it to be great. I'm never interested in losing the quality.
Yes. I love that.
The quality is great and we want to keep it great. I would we just have one if I have to lose the quality.
Yeah.
That's so important to me. So of course, more locations. We want more student housing. We have amazing events throughout the year. So growing our events, growing partnerships. I have been very patient too with bringing on the right partnership. Everything I do, everything I sign on to, I have to believe it for the core.
Definitely.
I'm not doing anything for money. I know how to make money, you know? So I have to believe in what I'm doing to be like, okay, this is going to be a partner.
Yeah.
So growing those partnerships is going to be important and big in this next couple of years. And we're going to be federal finance soon. So,
okay.
So that's huge.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. We have like a waiting list, like 100 students is waiting for federal financing.
Woo!
Yeah.
This episode has been a breath of fresh air because I love your energy. I love where you're going, where you came from. Style Mobb University is amazing. And just your drive, ambition, all of the things. So I'm sure the teen girls that you mentor are getting 10x what they are in school, and I'm sure that you are a great influence on them. Yes,
I like when just listening to her talk, the position that she's in.
Yes,
that she's in a position where she knows she has something great, and she has to be strategic.
Yes,
and I can really resonate with that.
You're the same way.
We get the same thing with private label of like, oh, I want to open a private label. I want to open a private label. I want to, like, in my city. How do I do it? And I think you have to be really careful from a couple different aspects. First is private label ready for somebody else to really take it over and follow all the private label policies? Do we have all the products in place that need to be there? Is all the marketing in place, all the plans, procedures? And it takes a long time to build that, right? So it's great that you're taking your time. You're not just like, hey, I got to open all the stuff. And then it also comes down, do you have the right people behind it?
Right.
Because it's one thing, money's easy, right? But it's the execution. So if you open, I'm going to open up three schools next year, but you don't have the right educators,
right? That's like, who's going to train those people?
Who's going to train? So that's so key. But it's great that you're building out the curriculum. It is definitely in a little bit different direction and geared towards more of the, the sew-ins and the wigs and understanding the quality of hair. And all of that in the business side, which I think really sets someone up for success, and really of tweaking that over the last couple of years to be able to say, hey, when I'm open this next school, we're going to be ready.
Yeah. Yep. That's the goal. Like, I want people, when they invest in me, I want them to know, like, I just hit the lotto.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm a diamond, baby. Like, but I'm going to make sure that before I move forward, it's going to be solid.
Yes.
And there's a real plan that can be executed.
I love that. So if there's one piece of advice that you could give someone who is looking to get into the hair industry or looking to become a stylist or anything beauty related, what would that piece of advice be? Business advice.
Business advice would be the biggest thing I would say if you're looking to get in the beauty industry. It always depends on which angle, but I think any angle that you come into in the beauty industry, make sure you are getting educated before you make a move. And education can be quick. It don't have to take years. You don't have to go to a college, but you need to know exactly what you're doing so you can have a real plan to knock down your goals. And have real goals, realistic goals. If you're talking about, I'm going to start selling hair, or I'm going to open up a salon, I'm going to put in $100,000 into this salon, and I'm going to make sure it's super beautiful, and we're going to make $1 million in the first year.
How?
That don't make sense. It's like, it really got to make sense. Like, you need to see your plan. And I'm not going to say see it all the way through, but you do need to have your first couple of steps lined up. Make sure your money makes sense. Make sure the numbers make sense. And if you can't figure it out, educate yourself on how before you start investing and throwing away money. I've opened up salons and put in $50,000 in a build out to make it look beautiful. And then the city came and bought my building and knocked it down 3-4 years later. That was stupid. I had to learn to like, hey, we're not investing this type of money in somebody else's property no more. We're going to invest maybe a couple of $1,000s, make it look good, put out quality work, make sure you have great customer service. And that's that. We're going to move on. So if you can't get it from somebody by teaching yourself, find somebody to get the wisdom and the jewels from so you would know and you're not tripping yourself up coming in.
Yes. I love that. I love it.
And I have a question. Actually, one statement is, I hear what you're saying about the building getting knocked down and investing. That's the one thing you have to be careful of because we have, 6 locations. We put in a lot of money in some of these spaces. Moving forward, I'm trying not to, as we open new locations in the future, is we're just buying the property.
Right.
So like the property we own today, we own, next door we own, Tucker we own, and then moving forward, the real estate behind it. And I think that's key. Obviously, it takes you're going to be renting for a while before you can get there. That's what we did, right? But having a long-term plan of buying the building that you're going to be is really cool. But one thing that I've never been able to ask anyone on this podcast is you having the school. What is something that if I am thinking, I'm a young student getting out of high school, early 20s, and I'm thinking of going to beauty, cosmetology, or down that route. As a student, what advice can you give, or a potential student, what advice can you give to find the right school for you? Like, I know it's not just, oh, let me just pick this school because it's popular. I feel like it really has to match your personality and what you're going to learn in the school. What is a way to kind of figure that out?
So the best way to figure that out is to do your research. Do your research. Do not just choose a school because of its name. Don't choose my school because of its name. My school come with a whole lot of culture and activities, and we like for our students to be involved in the industry. When you are seeking a school, go visit the campus. Go talk to the people there. Go talk to the students there. Look at the reviews. Go see if you like the culture of the school. Ask, what is the school culture? So you can really make an educated choice and not just guessing like, oh, okay, I'm going to choose this one. Or you know, get this school have federal finance and I'm going to take that one. What's going to happen is you're going to put yourself in a situation where you've got a loan just because it was federal finance. And then after you sign that contract of enrollment, you still have to pay that tuition regardless if you finish or not. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you are choosing a school that you're going to be happy to go to every single day. And if you could think about what is it that you see yourself doing in the next 10 years? Does this school offer the equipment to give you that, to put you in that direction? If it's just a school that's just going to be focused on hair, you may not want to be a hairstylist the whole time you're in the beauty industry. Yeah. You may not just want to be in a salon the whole time you're in the industry. There's so many avenues you can go on to. I had a friend who just made $50,000 off doing a promo for like a product line. He was on stage for 7 minutes, $50,000. You know, make sure you have a school, you choose a school that is setting you up for your future self, not who you are now.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
And actually one last question, because we talked about federal financing. If I wanted to go to a school and it wasn't federally financed, or maybe just it wasn't an option for you, is there other financing options that you can find to help you out?
You could. With researching, you could find things to help you pay for it. We give out a lot of grants and scholarships because we are a self-pay school. So we try to create a financing option within our school so our students can pay. Some of our students pay $100 a week to come to school. And so we figured this help you in two things. If you ever decide to go into booth rent, now you know what it feels like to pay booth rent every week. We're conditioning our students to be prepared to succeed in our industry. So it helps. With federal financing, why it's so important to make sure if you're going to get a federal financing contract, we say make sure you finish, make sure you report your taxes, make sure you get licensed, because right now the cosmetology industry is kind of rocky when it comes to the Federal Department of Education, because they look at the numbers and say schools are giving out federal financing, but they're not equipping students to get employed afterwards. Yeah. So they're like, we giving y'all millions and billions of dollars. No one is reporting their taxes. Nobody is going to get employed. Nobody, like, where are these cosmetologists? So make sure you go into
where y'all at. Right. Where y'all at?
Yeah, I think I heard that is a big problem in the industry right now.
Yeah,
I've seen it. People are going to school and not going to sit for the exams to actually get their license.
So it's not just that. Honestly, if we talk about the board of cosmetology, and so this is when the conversation get real, because I'm like, if we talk about the board of cosmetology, the board of cosmetology requires for you to teach a student the things they need to pass the test. That's sanitation. That's about a haircut, a 90-degree haircut, how to do a curl rod, how to make sure you're going through and saturating for a perm rod. First off, no one is coming into the salon asking for those things. A 90-degree cut, yeah, okay. Other than that, no one is coming into the salon to ask for anything. Do you properly need to know how to sanitize? Yes, because if you're touching someone's hair, you could pass along scalp diseases. Do you properly need to know how to apply relaxers or chemical products? Yes, because that's how people are getting cancer, because they don't know. They're not going to school to know how to properly to install chemicals. So now this is seeking down into our pores and going into our brain, and it's creating cancer. All right, so that's one thing. So, but the cosmetology board isn't saying, hey, do your curriculum teach students how to go get a job afterwards? Is your curriculum teaching students like how to pay back their federal loan? Is your curriculum saying like, hey, you got to report your taxes? Yeah. You got to get a business license. There's about 4 licenses you need to get before you can actively go into business. It's just not a cosmetology license. Is your curriculum teaching students how to make a resume so they can go to a salon and apply themselves? So,
it's a lot that goes into it.
So it's like, do your research before you choose a school, because right now this is affecting our industry as a whole. Like right now it's the Department of Education is not even seeing. It's like, well, should we continue to give them fundings to push out cosmetologists?
That's so interesting.
Good to know.
Yeah, that is really great to know. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm sure a lot of people were actually curious, or if they weren't, now you've intrigued some thought.
I think from what I've heard is it's a certain amount of people. They look at how many people are employed in the industry after they get out of school. But if they're doing all these other things that, they're in the industry, but they're not reporting taxes. There's no way to there's not a good way to track it unless they're maybe working for a commissioned salon. Mm-hmm. So, they're very entrepreneurial now. They're getting salon suites and all their things. So it is becoming a little bit more difficult to track. I wish they could maybe do something a little bit more updated to be able to figure out where people are going, so we can keep everything working like it has been, because the industry has changed as a whole, and the economics behind it have changed, where a lot of people are now much more entrepreneurial in the U.S. At a younger age than they were 20, 30 years ago.
I think if they would pay back their federal loan, they wouldn't care what we would be doing afterwards. But if you're saying you're unemployed after you've got a student loan for $40,000, they just like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, guys? Yeah. We want to know. But you got to pay back your money. You got to pay your taxes. And if you don't, guess what? They're going to eventually get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay? Unless you die. They're going to get the tax money.
They still going to get it even when you die.
They're going to get it somehow, and it just keeps going up.
Yep.
Because the interest, it's like a credit card. Yeah, they're not giving you this little 1% interest rate. They're going to get you.
The interest is heavy.
Yeah, heavy.
It is.
Interest thick.
Yeah.
And we talk about those things in our school. Like, we literally break down like what it looks like to pay taxes, how much of your money is being taxed as a whole, so you would know, like, at the end of the year, this is either you need to pay it quarterly. We literally break this down like bite size for our students to get it. Now, we're not pushing all our students to go be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We actually tell our students, go to commission-based salons, because you need to understand every position in this industry before you jump out and call yourself a boss. Like, a great leader understands that you have to be a follower first before you can lead. So,
that's so true.
Even though we're giving out the entrepreneur guideline or blueprint to it, we still are saying like, hey, but before I was this person, I was an employee of the beauty industry.
Yeah. And I think that's important, because the year we're in now, entrepreneurship is so glorified. And it's like, if you're not doing it, you're missing out on something, or you're not as good, or you're not as great. And so I think it's important for people to know that, hey, if you decide to go be in a commission-based salon for all your life, you can do that. Yeah. Like, there are people. Okay. Yes, okay. There's no problem with it. So I love that you guys also push that too.
Yeah, I mean, because the suite owners, they're landlords. You know, like, you're really just a landlord. And the booth renting salons, you're really just a landlord. Yeah. And I'm not knocking it. I love it, whichever way you want to go. But for me, I'm a numbers person. So I'm like, you got a salon, you got 6 booths, your booth rent $150. You're going to make that same amount of money every week. You're going to make that same amount of money every month. It don't make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Go get an apartment community for that.
Yeah,
it really makes some money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So where can people find you at? Online, offline?
You can find me all online, everywhere. You could just type in Style Mobb University, SMU. Now, remember, there isn't an SMU in Texas. And so we're not that one. We are the SMU in Atlanta, Georgia. And so that is Style Mobb University. Mobb is with 2 B's. So that's MOBB University. Type that in anywhere. You can find me, Tiffan'e Nicole. Tiffan'e Nicole. Tiffan'e is Tiffane. A lot of people be like, I put a Y, I couldn't find you, girl. That ain't me. I got an E. So any of those things will find you to me. If you're ever in Atlanta, please come by. Come by to school. We have a cafe on property, so you can come in and have a breakfast with Miss Tiffan'e, which is a drink at the school. It's a coffee drink. It's my favorite coffee drink. And so we're always here. I'm always around. We do things year round. We have an award show. We do homecoming. So we like,
well, hold on, because yes, but we did not talk about this award show, and it's the Glammy Awards. Yes, the Glammys. So talk a little bit about, before we go, just why you started that and when the next one is and what people can look forward to.
So the Glammys came about. First, they're called the Beauty and Barber Awards. And then we just kind of chomped it up. Like, we're going to call it the Glammys. The biggest thing was to respect the glam team. Mm-hmm. That came from working on movie sets a lot. One day I was just sitting there. I'm thinking, like, we really create these characters. Mm-hmm. We create the characters. We create the makeup. We create the artists, the music people. And I'm like, then Beyonce go out there, I love you, B. But Beyonce goes out there and she's glorified. And I'm like, well, she had a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a hairstylist. Like, can I get an award?
Yeah.
And so I think the Oscars maybe give out an award sometimes for like makeup. But I felt like we deserved to be awarded for our talents and our glory that we give to the world. Visuals is everything. And without the cosmetology industry, there's no visuals.
Yeah. That's true.
And so it just kind of came from that place. It was like, I feel like we needed to be celebrated for our gifts and our talents, and that we give so much to our communities. We give so much to the world.
Yeah.
And it needed to be on a platform.
I love that. And so when is the next one?
So our next one right now is being planned to be in April of 2024.
Yes.
We're doing it every 2 years because I'm so busy saving the world with education that I'm like, I can't do this every year. I do it every 2 years. And so we're so excited to roll it out next year. We've got some great people that's going to be coming aboard. We opened up the nominations last year. We had over 1,800 nominations. Like in 3 weeks.
Wow.
To the point we had to stop it. We was like, whoa. Yeah. The first year, we only thought we was going to have about 100 attendees. We was like, oh, we're going to have 100 attendees. It's going to be great. No, we had about 1,200 people there. It was standing room only. It was at the Hilton, Atlanta.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's good.
But it grew so big that I was like, wait, I got to make sure I'm doing it even better the next time.
Yeah.
And it come from the heart. Of course, I'm going to always make money regardless of what I do because it just gives me a little bit more push. But I really did it from the heart of just wanting to see our industry be celebrated.
Yeah.
Because we put in a lot of hard hours. And I remember there would be times at New Year's and holidays that I would miss things because I was making sure that everybody else got out.
Yeah, especially with makeup because people are getting ready for that night. Yeah. So I'm sure you was doing makeup up until 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So
24-hour salon.
Yeah. So, I'm like, I just feel like it was the Glammys is necessary for
I love that.
Us to push forward and to celebrate the ones that came before us, the ones that is here that's actively doing it, and to inspire those that is coming.
I love that. I love it. Okay, so you guys can also follow that journey online as well.
Yes.
It's going to be in April, so make sure you look out for that information, and we'll put that in the show notes. We'll add all the links and everything in the show notes for you so that you guys can look up that information as well. But thank you so much for kicking it with us today in the studio. This has been an amazing episode. You've inspired me a lot as well. So we appreciate you here at Hair Biz Radio. And anything else you want to share, Mikey?
No, I'm just excited about, working together more with you and just, as we all grow together, it's just more exciting to do exciting things in the industry. And I think it's not just doing exciting things in the industry, it's doing the right things in the industry with the right people and bringing the right people along with you.
Yes, definitely. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, hairbizradio.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, everything, all the things. Send us comments. Let us know who you want to hear from next. And we'll be back soon with another episode.
Later.